So how we can verify whether a statement is true or not using deductive reasoning? Well, we're going to take a look at two methods here. First, law of detachment, and second, law of syllogism. Now, first, what is the law of detachment? Well, I have a statement ready here, so let's take a look. A conditional statement here says, if late 3 times, then a student gets a detention. So we know in a conditional statement, the part that comes after if is hypothesis, and let's label it as P. And the part that comes after then is conclusion, and let's label that Q, okay? So relationship that exists inside this conditional statement is P to the Q, if P then Q, right? So this is an established rule, let's say, in our imaginary school. Well, if you're late 3 times, then you get a detention. This is true, okay? This is a rule, no question about it. So let's say we have a new case with our friend named Jim, let's say. And Jim was late 3 times. So P is true, right? Then nobody told me that Jim will get a detention, but I know because he was late 3 times. We know, and I know that he will get a detention. We deduced that he will get a detention, right? So law of detachment says if a P to the Q, if the relationship is true, and in a new case, if a P is true, then Q also must be true, right? In this case, Q. So Jim was late 3 times, right? That means P is true. If Jim was late only 2 times, then P is not true for Jim, right? Because he was only late 2 times. If a P is true, he was late 3 times, then we can conclude that Q also must be true, that he will get a detention, right? Does it work the other way around? If Jim got detention, does that mean if he was late 3 times? No, it doesn't work that way. So the other way doesn't work. Only if P is true, then Q must be true. Because if he got a detention, then it could be for other reasons, right? Besides tardy. Yeah. Then we have something called law of syllogism, where I have prepared an example. So in this case, if late 3 times P, then you get a detention, Q, right? And we have a second statement. If you get a detention, that's the same as a Q here, right? So I'm just gonna call it Q again. Then you can go to a dance. So let's call it R. So two relationship we have is P to the Q. And the second relationship we have is Q to the R, right? Now, what do you see here? Q and Q overlap, right? So in this case, according to law of syllogism, if P to the Q is true and Q to the R is true, then we can skip the middle step and say P to the R is true, right? So in this example, if late 3 times, you get a detention. And you get a detention, then you can't go to dance, right? So somebody tells me, hey, Jim was late 3 times. Then with just that knowledge, I can deduce that, oh, he can't go to dance. Because he will get a detention, and if you get a detention, then you can go to dance, right? So this is the steps, and this is law of syllogism. In this particular cases, knowing that P to the Q is true and Q to the R is true, that P to the R is also true, right? But you have to be careful when you look at the statement because relationships could be different, and you can falsely and wrongly, incorrectly draw a conclusion without correct relationship, okay? But that's law of syllogism.